Morning. Good morning. It's morning, isn't it? It's not morning, good morning. It's morning. Anyway, it's been a while again. So I guess what we all have found out here together is when I'm not filming trail, I'm not filming. Very difficult for me to do this format, which I've described per the last video. But per the last video, I was supposed to be coming out with more updates, more book stuff, more reading chapters, more of that nitty-gritty stuff. So haven't done that. Not good at this. So anyway, wanted to come out with a video to one, apologize about that, but two, another thank you video. So I wanted to thank everybody that has done those pre-orders. There was so much love shown in that beginning, and I did a podcast about it. So if you guys aren't podcast fans, you may not have seen that or heard that, but I did a podcast about it, thanking you all. But wanted to hop on here as well for everybody that just rushed into that pre-order. Beautiful. I mean, absolutely amazing. And you'll see when you read the book from that pre-order that you filled the home, the proverbial home. Can't say it, can't write well, can't talk well. This is why I don't do these. Anyway, I wanted to show my immense gratitude to all those people that have pre-ordered. Even back 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I was able to get a few advanced copies to a few folks that specifically requested them. You guys know who you are. Love y'all. And then also, I wanted to say this here because probably a lot of you have been getting emails from, I think yesterday, maybe the day before, that a lot of the books got shipped out. So again, as a way to thank you, we aren't officially publishing until August 1st, but as just a way to thank you, everybody that had pre-ordered in that first week window to 2 week window, I wanted to show you my thanks and get you the book before anybody else can get the book. So sent those books out. Wanted to give that update here. So that's what it's about. This video is about an apology because I said I was going to be doing more stuff around this book and life just gets the better of you. And then also a thank you. Again, you all know who you are. Really cannot say thank you enough for all the love and support you all have shown. So for the people that are still looking to buy the book, as always, it's over on 11 Skies. And if you want that more in-depth thing that I did promise, I got 2 snippets here that I'm going to read from said book. And they're going to be a little bit on the longer side. I don't want to give too much away, so I try to pick a segment from one chapter and then one in between. So in between chapter. So again, it's going to be hard not to give too much away. A lot of my favorite snippets are tied into the message of the book, and I don't want to reveal the trajectory, even though you can maybe assume. I don't know. Maybe if you watch the videos, you can assume. But I don't think so. I think there's going to be hidden stuff in here for everybody. So without further ado, let's get into what I said I was going to do like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. So do I hold these books up when I do this? Do I just look down and then you hear the camera? Maybe I do it this way. This way? This way. Let's do it this way. We're all learning here together, folks. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Okay. If I don't talk well, me reading well, whew, but we're going to try anyway. Okay. First excerpt from the Continental Divide Trail. She won't be lengthy. Be ready. The Great Divide Basin is one of the most renowned landmarks along the Continental Divide Trail. It is desolate, flat, open expanse of land. Already messed up. Oh, jeez. It is a desolate, flat, open expanse of land that stretches as far as the eye can see. Walking across dirt roads for days, your only companions are free-range cattle and your own thoughts. Water, once abundant in Colorado, becomes scarce once again. Springs, separated by scorched earth, are your only sources of nourishment, sometimes spaced 30 miles apart. It is a landscape beyond beautiful. Within this landscape, I found insanity and lost my mind. First, I have to take you back to a belief that was instilled in me back on the Appalachian Trail, which I briefly mentioned on the Pacific Crest Trail. When I first began through hiking, insights into this new world were imbued in me by old-timers along the AT. Gray-bearded, gnarled, more tree than human hikers were held in my mind as an embodiment of wisdom. They were the men I aspired to be. And when they told me how they lived this wonderfully weird life, I listened, and I took notice. Their words were gospel, and I was an eager disciple, hungry for knowledge. If you've had the pleasure of meeting any old-timers along the trails, you'll not need this description, but I'll provide it nonetheless. They hold strong opinions about what constitutes the true essence of a thru hike. In their eyes, there's only one right way, and any deviation from this perceived rightness would be an insult to the trail and the authenticity of the journey itself. Unaware of any alternatives, Unaware of any alternatives, I absorbed I absorbed every opinion as an unquestionable truth, striving to become a genuine hiker. I won't bore you with every opinion I held during that time, but my perspective was skewed. Over the years, I have let go of many of these thoughts, but there are still some I grapple with to this day. They have become deeply ingrained within me, and even when I know rationally that they are not correct, I still experience profound shame and guilt when I deviate from the truth of how a thru hike should be experienced. A hike is a profoundly personal journey, and your own truth is valid in the way you choose to experience it. I adhered to these truths day after day for years until I found myself within the Great Basin. Survival in this harsh environment necessitated breaking one of these truths. The first day passed, and my mind wandered across the desert floor, contemplating thoughts of food, friends, philosophy, and more food. I pondered why there was a rock in my shoe, whether the figure on the horizon was a cow or a mirage. Definitely a cow. And the myriad thoughts that occupy every hiker's mind when given the freedom to roam. Despite finding solace in my thoughts, there was one nagging thorn that began to fester into an open wound. My mind would not let go of the song, "I'm a Barbie Girl." And no matter how fast I walked or ran across that desert floor, the song pursued me relentlessly. For 3 full days, I sang that song on an endless loop inside my head. Let me emphasize this fact. I sang, "I'm a Barbie Girl," for hours that turned into days. I challenge you to listen to that song even once without feeling the growing urgency that transforms into a desperate need to dive face first into a wall. The song's simplicity holds its power. It's easy to remember, quick to sing, and unfortunately catchy enough to stick. In those 3 days, I must have recited that song thousands of times. It's not a long song. It only takes a minute or so to sing. And I had countless hours for it to reverberate within me. I lost my mind. Either I would fully turn into a Barbie girl and no longer know a reality that I wanted to live in, or I could try and break this spell. I tried the tricks I had learned hiking thousands of miles prior and got lost within the movement of my steps, found deep recesses of my mind, fantasized and dreamed as I walked along the Great Basin. Yet, the tricks I had come to rely on had no power here. The Great Basin, in all its grandness and nothingness, had made my mind impotent in its powerlessness to rein itself in. I dabbled in insanity, and I did not like the taste. I needed this torture to end, and I sought release in a simple yet powerful tool: music. I broke the truth that I had held onto for years. Apologize for all these chewing my own words. Oh man. But message is a message. To listen to music, podcasts, audiobooks, anything that would take you out of the experience and distract you from the trail was preached down to me as impure. Those old timers back on the AT did not have access to this technology decades ago and did not appreciate its growing saturation into the hiking youth. It was immoral, dishonorable, and sinful to listen to anything that was not the sounds of your breath, your mind, and the sound of the trail itself. After hiking over 5,000 miles to reach the Great Basin, I can honestly say that I could count on one hand the number of times I had listened to music on the trail, and even then, it was always shared by someone I was hiking with. I carried my phone and headphones, but only as a last resort. And this was my last resort. I needed music to break my preconceived notion of what a trail should be and to escape from this madness. I put on my headphones and drowned out Barbie with a turn of rock, country, and western. And even though I hate to admit it, a little bit of jazz. It worked. I was no longer a Barbie girl. I was once again becoming a man. A man with his sanity regained. Or at this point, a sanity that was always loose at best. All right, so that's going to be the end of the first section. I actually wanted to read the next 2-3 paragraphs because they tie in very well to that. But again, trying to give you a feel for the book without revealing too much. I don't know how I could reveal too much. but it feels like I would be revealing too much. So this is going to be a quick pause before we go to the next section, or a quick talk, not read, talk. So I'm in the process of recording the audiobook for Amazon, and as you saw just with reading a few paragraphs, I chew over my words a lot. Don't worry, I will edit it in for the Amazon format or for the audiobook format, but YouTube, I like to just flow with it. So for the audiobook, there won't be me bumbling, mumbling, stumbling, crumbling, tumbling? I don't know. It could rhyme quite a lot. But like, if you watched my YouTube videos before, you know, I just like the flow, the editing process. Yeah, not so much. But with that being said, it will be a professional format for Amazon, just because, one, Amazon requires it. Two, I also want it to be smoothless and seamless. You're here. You know that my style for YouTube, so let's just keep on going into the weird. Okay, next section. So this next section, it's going to come from an in-between chapter. And it's actually the in-between chapter after the CDT. So in-between part 3. So let me just find where it was. Oh, Lord. Okay. Maybe here? Planning. Oh my God. Yeah. I could read this. It's going to be a long one again. Well, okay, we'll start here. I Googled hiking trails in the United States and was quickly overwhelmed with volumes of information. I asked hiking friends for recommendations, and with every question, there was a new trail that I learned about. I read hiking journals to try to glean any information I could of the trails that were the best. There were endless trails and endless opportunities of every shape, size, flavor, and feeling. I began to realize that I needed to stop looking at every trail and only focus on those that promised the journey I sought. I did not, at this time, want another trail similar to the Appalachian Trail. I loved the AT, but I did not want crowds, shelters, or a well-defined path. I did not want another trail similar to the Pacific Crest Trail. I did not want the graded trail, the popular wilderness, or the well-traveled area. I wanted what I had found on the Continental Divide Trail. I wanted wild adventure. I wanted the unknown. I wanted the unseen. This narrowed down my focus, and through my research, the endless potential of trails dwindled down to less than 10. 10 trails soon became 5, and some were discarded for the time as being too remote. Even though I sought the unseen, and would one day return to this list, at the time, I was very aware of my skill and knowledge, and more importantly, the lack thereof. I was just growing into my competency to follow the land, walk an undefined trail, and roam along a route. I was ready to learn more, but not ready to push past that healthy discomfort I sought. I knew there was a line that separated discomfort from danger, and I had learned to define it. Those trails would be dangerous if I wasn't fully confident in my abilities to route find, and I would not walk that line until I could bring it from danger back into discomfort. I was aware that some were still outside my expertise, but one day, they would be ready for me, when I was ready for them. Within those 5 trails on my list, one kept drawing my attention. Call it coincidence, fate, or destiny, those 5 became one. The Pacific North Trail spoke the loudest and promised the most. This would be my trail. This would be my hike. I would build my hiking year around this singular trail, and while I would put more puzzle pieces together, this was the defining one. There was one special line from the guidebook that I kept returning to if I doubted that this trail was for me. The author of the book spoke of its remoteness, ruggedness, and challenges. These words inspired me, but there was one specific line that ignited me. The line summarily stated that for days the hiker that tackled this trail would share more time with mountain lions than people, and this thrilled me. I was not seeking another encounter with a mountain lion. Let me make that clear. That moment I had shared with that mountain lion on my last day on the almost called it the Canton. That moment I had shared with that mountain lion on my last day on the Continental Divide Trail had left me with glimpses into the wild I desperately sought. The lion whispered, apologize. Okay, glimpses that could not be replicated, but that could grow with new experiences. This line whispered the potential to find more. I feel I need a... God, I can't read. We're going to keep it all in. I feel I need to reiterate this point. I was not looking for mountain lions. Even though I sought the wild I had found in one's eyes, it was just the window to the wider world of the wilderness that I craved. It was a representation of a larger picture that I could still not paint. It was not another encounter that I wish to repeat. Instead, it was an encounter that had given me a fake guidepost to follow. I knew where I needed to look, and it was in the remote areas that I may yet find. Okay. Can't read anymore. Honestly, this video is already too long. Those were 2 sections, and the in-betweens with that last video 2-3 weeks ago that I showed you, the in-betweens talk about the trails, but also talk a lot about life. That section that I picked talked about the trail. You got to find it out for yourself. There's a couple previews up that you can read, some of the in-between part 1s, part 2s. You can read more of the feel. Those in-betweens were structured to show you how you build life, how you work through life, how you wander through life, how you chase life, how you live life in a pursuit towards the next trail, towards whatever you're looking for. So I just can't read anymore, honestly. I would pick another segment, but we just found out I've been doing audiobook recordings like early morning hours each day, and I spend like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, very early morning hours, reading through this. The amount of editing I have in my future, oh my, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I stumble and mumble quite a lot. That's why I like these videos, because I get to just stumble and mumble to the camera. And these videos are getting way too long. Oh my God. I promise I'm gonna come out with more. There's not gonna be this big gap, 2-3 weeks. I'm gonna try to make sure there's one out every week until the official publication date. So promise there will be more. Let's not make this more than it is. It's already gonna be like close to 20 minutes. Yeah. So main guest message of this video. 1, giant thank you to everybody that's ordered the book. Massive, massive, massive thank you. Can't say it enough times. Can't say it more than enough. Can't imbue as much meaning as possible into it. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say, can't thank you enough. Number 2, for those of you that are still looking to order the book, you can so via 11 Skies. Put the link below. Number 3, we found out how bad I am at reading. When I read in my head, it's fine. When I read out loud, I can't talk well, can't read well. The longer I do this, the weirder it's gonna get. So we're gonna just cut here. I think that's a message that I wanted to get across. The message is about the book. I thank you. You can still get it. And we're getting closer to publication date. Oh, audiobook. Working on that. Oh, this is why I can't do these anymore. Ebook. People kept asking about the ebook. Ebook will be coming out. I know that was a format that many of you asked for. Paperback's out. Ebook and audiobook be coming out. Trifecta. That should be it. No more. No more. Okay. I'm ending this now.